The cold metal floor pressed against Captain Jake Morrison's face as his eyes slowly opened. Everything hurt. His muscles felt like they had been frozen solid for years. He tried to move his arm, but it felt heavy like a piece of iron. The room around him was dark except for a few blue lights that flickered on the walls. "Captain Morrison, please remain still while your body adjusts to normal temperature," a woman's voice said from somewhere above him. The voice was soft and familiar, but he could not remember where he had heard it before. Jake tried to speak, but only a rough sound came from his throat. His mouth was so dry it felt like sand. He blinked several times and slowly pushed himself up to sit. The room was full of metal beds, and on each bed was a person covered in a thin sheet. Some of them were starting to move like he was. "Where am I?" Jake finally managed to ask. His voice sounded strange and weak. "You are aboard the USS Defiant, Captain. You have been in cryo-sleep for 312 years, the voice answered. The words hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. 300 years. That was impossible. He remembered going into the sleep chambers during the war with the aliens, but that was supposed to be for just a few months until they could find a safe place to hide. "Amy? Is that you, Amy Walsh?" Jake asked, recognizing the voice now. "Yes, Captain." "Well, it is my voice. I am the ship's computer now. My consciousness was uploaded before my body died 200 years ago." Jake felt sick. Amy had been his communications officer and a good friend. Now she was just a voice in the computer. He stood up slowly, his legs shaking. Other people around him were waking up too. He could hear groaning and confused voices. "How many of us are left?" Jake asked. "All 50,000 crew members survived the cryo-sleep, Captain. Everyone is waking up now across the ship." Jake felt relief wash over him. At least his people were alive. He walked to a window and looked outside. Instead of the stars he expected to see, there was only swirling purple and blue light that moved like water. "What is that outside?" "We have been trapped in a space-time anomaly, Captain. Think of it like a bubble in space where time moves differently. But something has changed. The anomaly is breaking apart. We will be back in normal space soon." A door at the end of the room opened with a hiss. A tall man with gray hair walked in, moving carefully like Jake. It was Commander Pete Johnson, the ship's chief engineer. Pete looked around the room with wide eyes. "Jake? Is that really you?" "How long were we out?" Pete asked. 300 years, Pete. Can you believe it?" Pete's face went white. 300 years? What happened to Earth? What happened to the war? "I do not know yet," Amy says. "We were trapped in some kind of space bubble, but we are getting out now." More people were entering the room. Jake recognized many faces, though everyone looked older and confused. These were his officers, the people who had followed him into the unknown during humanity's darkest hour. "Captain," Amy's voice spoke to everyone in the room. "Commander Johnson, please report to engineering. All senior officers, please report to the bridge in 1 hour. We have much to discuss." Jake nodded and looked around at his people. They were scared and confused, but they were alive. That was what mattered most. Pete grabbed Jake's arm. "Captain, I need to check the engines and weapons. If we have been asleep for 3 centuries, I do not know what condition the ship is in." "Do it, Pete. And Pete, be ready for anything." Jake made his way through the corridors of the massive ship. The Defiant was enormous, more like a floating city than a normal ship. It had been humanity's greatest achievement, built to carry an entire army across the galaxy. The walls were still clean and the lights worked perfectly. Whatever had kept them in that space bubble had also kept the ship in perfect condition. As he walked, Jake saw other crew members moving through the halls. Soldiers, pilots, engineers, doctors. All of them looked lost and worried. Some were crying. Jake tried to smile and nod at them as he passed. They needed to see that their captain was strong. The bridge was a large circular room with screens and control panels everywhere. Jake had spent years on this bridge during the war. It felt good to be back, even though everything had changed. One by one, his senior officers arrived. Commander Lisa Parker, his best pilot, Commander Rick Stone, who spoke 12 alien languages, Dr. Helen Brooks, the smartest scientist he had ever met, Colonel Steve Murphy, who led the ship's army of Marines. They all looked older and tired, but they were alive. "Amy, show us what happened while we were asleep," Jake said. The main screen lit up with a map of the galaxy. Jake could see Earth and the other human worlds, but something was wrong. Where human flags should have been, there were alien symbols instead. During our absence, the Zephyrian Confederation took control of this part of the galaxy. They are an alliance of 6 alien species. They have divided up all the human worlds among themselves. "What about Earth?" Dr. Brooks asked. "Earth still exists, but I cannot contact it. There is too much interference. I do not know if humans still live there." Jake felt anger building inside him. The aliens had taken everything while humanity slept. His people had fought and died to protect human worlds, and now they were all gone. "Captain," Amy continued, "there is something else you need to know. While we were in the anomaly, time moved faster for us. We did not just sleep for 300 years. Our technology continued to develop. The ship's computers kept working and improving everything. We are now far more advanced than when we went to sleep." Jake smiled for the first time since waking up. Maybe they had lost the human worlds, but they had gained something too. They had become stronger. "Show me what?" "We have, Amy." The screen changed to show the ship's weapons and fighters. Jake's eyes went wide. The numbers were incredible. Thousands of fighters, weapons that could destroy entire fleets, shields that could stop anything. "We are no longer just a ship, Captain. We are a complete military force, but we are alone. Just us against an entire alien empire." Jake looked around at his officers. They were scared, but he could see determination in their eyes too. These were the people who had followed him into the unknown. They would follow him again. "Then, we will show these aliens what happens when you steal from humanity," Jake said. "It is time to take back what is ours." Outside the ship, the purple and blue lights were fading away. Normal space was returning, full of stars and planets. Somewhere out there were the aliens who had taken the human worlds. But Jake Morrison and his 50,000 warriors were awake now, and they were ready to fight. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge looking at the star map. 2 days had passed since they escaped the space bubble. His crew was getting stronger and more alert, but Jake felt worried. They needed to know what had happened to the galaxy while they slept. "Lisa, I want you to take your best pilots and scout the nearby systems. Find out what is out there," Jake said to Commander Lisa Parker. Lisa nodded. She was a small woman with short brown hair, but Jake knew she was the best pilot on the ship. "How many fighters should I take, Captain?" "Take 12. Stay hidden and do not engage unless you have to. We need information, not a fight." Lisa saluted and left the bridge. Jake watched her go, hoping he was making the right choice. They were alone in a galaxy full of enemies. Every decision could mean life or death for his people. An hour later, Lisa and her pilots launched from the ship's huge hangar bay. Their fighters were sleek and fast, designed to be invisible to most sensors. Jake watched them disappear into space on the main screen. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Kethvar sat in his command center on the planet Zephyr Prime. He was a tall creature with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His species, the Zephyrians, had led the Confederation for 200 years. "Admiral, we are getting strange readings from Sector 7, his science officer said. Her name was Dr. Lyra Voss, and she was from a different alien species with green skin and large black eyes. "What kind of readings?" Kethvar asked. "Energy signatures we have never seen before. Very powerful. The computers cannot identify the source." Kethvar looked at the data on his screen. The energy readings were massive, bigger than anything in the Confederation fleet. "Send scout ships to investigate. I want to know what is out there." Back on the Defiant, Jake was talking with his officers in the meeting room. Commander Tony Miller, who led the ship's intelligence team, was showing them what they had learned from scanning space around them. "Captain, the alien signals are everywhere. They control everything we can see. But their technology looks old compared to ours," Tony said. Dr. Helen Brooks was studying the alien ship designs on her computer. Jake, look at this. These alien ships are using human technology, but they are doing it wrong. It is like they found pieces of our old ships and tried to copy them without understanding how they work. What do you mean? Jake asked. Their engines are based on human fusion designs, but they are much weaker than they should be. Their weapons use human energy principles, but they waste most of the power. They have been trying to copy us for 300 years, but they never understood what made our technology so good. Jake felt hope rising in his chest. Maybe they were not as outnumbered as he thought. Lisa's voice came through the communication system. Captain, you need to see this. I am sending you video from the Kepler system. The main screen showed a planet that Jake remembered. It had been a human colony with millions of people. Now the cities looked different. The buildings were strange shapes that hurt the eyes to look at. Alien ships moved through the sky. There are no humans left, Captain. The aliens have taken over completely. But I found something else. There are other species here who do not look happy. I think some of them are slaves. Jake felt anger burning in his stomach. The aliens had not just taken human worlds. They had enslaved other species too. Lisa, come back now. Do not let them see you. But it was too late. On the planet below, alien sensors had detected something unusual. A Zephyrian commander named Quintal was studying the readings. There is something in our space. A ship we do not recognize, he told his officers. Should we attack it? One of them asked. No. Send a message first. Tell them they must come to us for inspection. All ships in Confederation space must follow our laws. Lisa heard the alien message in her fighter. She did not understand their language, but her computer translated it. They were demanding that she surrender. Not today, Lisa said, and pushed her fighter to maximum speed. The alien ships tried to follow her, but she was much faster. She escaped back to the Defiant without being caught. When Lisa returned, she brought bad news. Captain, they detected us. They know something is out there. Jake called all his senior officers to the bridge. They know we exist now. We cannot hide anymore. We need to decide what to do next. Commander Rick Stone, who studied alien languages, had been listening to their radio signals. Captain, I have been translating their messages. They are sending ships to find us. A lot of ships. Dr. Brooks looked up from her computer. Jake, I have been studying their technology more. We are much more advanced than they are. One of our fighters could probably defeat 10 of theirs. Colonel Steve Murphy, who commanded the ship's soldiers, spoke up. Captain, my Marines are ready. If these aliens want to fight, we can give them one. Jake looked around at his officers. They were brave and loyal, but they were still just one ship against an entire empire. He needed to be smart about this. Amy, how long until the alien ships reach us? Jake asked the ship's computer. 6 hours, Captain. They are sending 23 ships. Jake made his decision. We are not running away, but we are not starting a war either. When they get here, we will talk to them, let them know that humanity is back. 2 hours later, the alien ships appeared on the sensors. They formed a circle around the Defiant, trying to look threatening, but Jake could see that each alien ship was much smaller than his. The biggest one was not even as large as one of his fighter bays. The aliens sent a message. Rick Stone translated it for everyone. They say we must surrender our ship for inspection. They say we are criminals for entering their space without permission. Jake almost laughed. These aliens thought they could order him around like a child. Rick, send them a message back. Tell them this. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship Defiant. These were human worlds before your people were even flying in space. We do not recognize your authority here. Rick sent the message. A few minutes later, the aliens replied. They say humans no longer exist. They say we must be rebels using stolen human technology. They demand we surrender immediately or they will attack. Jake looked at the alien ships on his screen. 23 ships against 1. They thought the numbers were in their favor. They had no idea what they were facing. Amy, show them what a real human ship looks like. Launch 1 squadron of fighters. The Defiant's hangar bay doors opened. 48 human fighters poured out like angry wasps. They moved in perfect formation, faster and more graceful than anything the aliens had ever seen. On the alien ships, alarms were going off everywhere. The commanders could not believe what they were seeing. The human ship was massive, and it was launching more fighters than their entire fleet had. Admiral Kethvar's voice came over the alien communication system. His voice sounded scared. "Human ship, this is Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Confederation. We wish to talk." Jake smiled. Now they wanted to talk. Fear was a language everyone understood. "Tell them we will talk," Jake said to Rick. "But we talk as equals, not as prisoners." The first contact between humanity and the Confederation had begun. But Jake knew this was just the start. The aliens had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. They would not give up their power easily. Soon there would be a much bigger fight. But for now, Jake Morrison and his people had announced their return to the galaxy. The age of human weakness was over. Admiral Kethvar paced back and forth in his command room on the flagship. 3 days had passed since the first contact with the human ship. The talks were not going well. The human captain refused to accept Confederation authority and demanded that aliens leave all human worlds. "This is impossible," Kethvar said to his officers. "One ship cannot make demands against our entire empire. They must be made to understand their place." His war council agreed. General Vexoth, a large creature with thick armor-like skin, slammed his fist on the table. "Admiral, we have been too patient. We should attack them now while they are alone." "But their technology seems advanced," Dr. Lyra Voss said carefully. "Perhaps we should be more careful." Kethvar looked at the reports again. The human ship was big, but it was still just one ship. His fleet had grown to 200 ships now, with more coming every hour. Numbers had to count for something. "We will show them our strength," Kethvar decided. "Prepare the fleet for a demonstration. We will surround them and make them see that resistance is useless." On the Defiant, Captain Jake Morrison was having his own meeting. His officers were gathered around the table in the war room. The alien fleet kept growing larger each day. "They now have 200 ships, Captain," Commander Tony Miller reported. "More are arriving every few hours." Commander Lisa Parker looked worried. "Jake, even with our advanced technology, can we really fight that many ships?" Jake studied the tactical display. The alien ships were small compared to the Defiant, but there were so many of them. He needed to end this without starting a full war that could destroy his people. "We are not going to fight them all," Jake said. "We are going to show them what human technology can really do. Make them understand that attacking us would be a mistake they would never recover from." Dr. Helen Brooks had been studying the alien ships with her sensors. "Captain, their ships are poorly designed. Their weapons are weak and their engines are slow. I think our fighters could disable them without destroying them." Colonel Steve Murphy nodded. "My Marine pilots have been training on the simulators. They are ready for anything." Jake made his decision. "Lisa, I want you to prepare every fighter we have. When the aliens make their move, we will show them what a real Space Force looks like." Commander Betty Hughes, who led the ship's combat air groups, looked excited. "How many fighters should I prep, Captain?" "All of them, Betty. Every single fighter on this ship." Betty's eyes went wide. The Defiant carried over 2,000 fighters. No one had ever seen so many ships launch from a single vessel. The next morning, Admiral Kethvar gave his order. "All ships, move to surround the human vessel. Show them the power of the Confederation." 200 alien ships moved into position around the Defiant. They formed a giant circle with their weapons pointed at the human ship. Kethvar was sure this display of force would make the humans surrender. On the Defiant's bridge, Jake watched the alien ships take their positions. "Amy, open a channel to all ships." Amy's voice filled the bridge. "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Morrison to all Confederation ships. You are making a mistake. Move your ships away from us now, or we will be forced to defend ourselves." Admiral Kethvar's voice came back immediately. "Human Captain, you are outnumbered 200 to 1. Surrender your ship now or we will take it by force." Jake smiled coldly. "You want to see what you are really facing? Betty, launch all fighters. Show them what human pilots can do." The Defiant's hangar bays opened like the mouths of giant beasts. Fighter after fighter poured out into space. The alien sensors went crazy as they tried to count them all. By the ancient gods, whispered Dr. Voss on Kethvar's ship. How many fighters does that ship carry? The answer became clear as the launch continued. 100 fighters became 500. 500 became 1,000. 1,000 became 1,500. The human fighters kept coming until there were over 2,000 of them in space. Each human fighter was sleek and fast, moving through space like deadly fish through water. They formed perfect formations that the alien commanders had never seen before. It was like watching a deadly dance. This is impossible, General Vexoth said, his voice shaking. No ship can carry that many fighters. But the demonstration was not over. Commander Dan Foster, the Defiant's tactical officer, coordinated the next part of the show. All fighters, begin attack pattern Delta. Disable only, do not destroy. The human fighters moved like a swarm of angry insects. They split into groups and attacked different parts of the alien fleet. But instead of destroying the ships, they did something much more frightening. Using precise laser fire, the human fighters began disabling the alien weapons. One by one, the guns on the alien ships stopped working. The humans were so accurate that they could hit individual weapon systems without damaging the rest of the ship. On Admiral Kethavar's flagship, alarms were screaming. Admiral, they have disabled 40% of our weapons. Our guns cannot lock onto them, they are too fast. The alien pilots tried to fight back, but their ships were too slow. The human fighters moved around them like they were standing still. Every time an alien ship tried to fire, a human fighter would appear and destroy the weapon before it could shoot. Commander Lisa Parker led a group of 20 fighters against Kethvar's flagship. Her voice came over the radio to her pilots. Remember, we are not trying to kill them. We just want to show them how helpless they are. Lisa's fighters attacked the flagship from 6 different directions at once. The alien gunners could not keep up. Within minutes, the most powerful ship in the alien fleet had no working weapons at all. Dr. Helen Brooks was watching the battle from the Defiance bridge. Jake, our fighters have disabled over half their fleet. The aliens cannot even hit our ships. The alien formation was falling apart. Ships were trying to retreat, but the human fighters followed them, not to destroy them, but to disable more weapons. It was becoming clear that the humans could destroy the entire alien fleet if they wanted to. Admiral Kethvar sat in his command chair, watching his fleet being taken apart piece by piece. His ships outnumbered the humans 200 to 1, but it did not matter. The human fighters were like nothing he had ever seen. Admiral, his communication officer said, the human captain is sending us a message. Jake's voice came over the alien communication system. Admiral Kethvar, as you can see, numbers do not always win battles. Your fleet is disabled. We could destroy every ship you have, but we choose not to. We are not your enemies unless you make us your enemies. Kethvar looked around his bridge. His officers were staring at him, waiting for orders. But what could he do? His weapons were gone, his ships were helpless. Tell the human captain that we wish to withdraw our fleet, Kethvar said quietly. All Confederation ships return to base immediately, he ordered his fleet. Do not engage the human fighters. The alien ships began to retreat, moving slowly away from the Defiant. The human fighters let them go, but followed them to make sure they really left. Jake watched the alien fleet disappear into space. He had won this battle without killing anyone, but he knew this was just the beginning. Amy, send a message to Confederation headquarters. Tell them that humanity has returned to the galaxy, and we want our worlds back. If they want to talk, we will talk. If they want to fight, they now know what will happen. Colonel Murphy approached Jake. Captain, do you think they will try to negotiate now? Jake looked at the stars on the main screen. Somewhere out there were billions of aliens, who now knew that humans were not to be underestimated. They will try something, Steve. But now they know the price of fighting us will be higher than they want to pay. The demonstration was over. The galaxy had seen what human military power could do. Admiral Kethvar was already sending desperate messages to the Confederation capital, warning them that humanity was more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The next move would be up to the aliens. But Jake Morrison and his crew were ready for whatever came next. News of the human defeat of Admiral Kethfer's fleet spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On every alien world, people talked about the impossible sight of one ship destroying an entire battle fleet without firing a single killing shot. On the Confederation capital world of Zephyr Prime, Chancellor Zixara called an emergency meeting of the High Council. The council chamber was filled with representatives from all 6 alien species that ruled the galaxy. "This human ship threatens everything we have built," Chancellor Zixara said, her voice echoing in the large room. She was an old Zephyrian, with silver skin and wise eyes. "We must decide how to respond." War Marshal Thalgrim stood up from his seat. He was a massive creature with thick red skin and sharp teeth. His species believed that all problems could be solved with violence. "The solution is simple," Thalgrim said. "We gather our entire fleet and crush this human ship. I have 50,000 ships under my command. No single vessel can stand against that many." But Councillor Murthak disagreed. He was from a species that valued intelligence over strength. "War Marshal, did you see the battle reports? Their fighters moved faster than our sensors could track. Their weapons were more accurate than anything we have ever seen. Numbers may not be enough." "You sound like a coward," General Vexuth growled. "We rule this galaxy because we are strong. If we show weakness now, other species will rebel against us." Chancellor Zixara raised her hand for silence. "What do our spies tell us about this human ship?" Intelligence Director Quindal stepped forward. "Our scouts report that the ship is massive, bigger than our largest space stations. It appears to be completely self-sufficient. It can build its own fighters and weapons. We also detected energy readings that suggest they have technology we do not understand." "How is that possible?" asked Councillor Yathura. "We have studied human technology for 3 centuries. We know everything about their capabilities." "Apparently we do not," Quindal replied. "This ship is far more advanced than any human vessel in our historical records." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Jake Morrison was dealing with his own challenges. His ship was powerful, but it was alone. He needed allies if he was going to face the entire Confederation. Commander Tony Miller had been studying alien communications for days. He brought his findings to Jake in the captain's ready room. "Captain, I have been listening to alien radio signals across the galaxy. Not all species are happy under Confederation rule. Many smaller civilizations have been conquered and forced to serve the 6 ruling species." Jake looked at the intelligence reports. "Which species might help us?" "The Alterians are the most promising. They are a peaceful people who remember humans from before the war. Our old records show they were friendly to human traders and explorers." Jake made a decision. "Prepare a diplomatic mission. I want to make contact with these Alterians. If we can get them as allies, maybe other oppressed species will join us." "Commander." Lucy Adams was chosen to lead the diplomatic mission. She was a skilled negotiator who had helped end conflicts between human colonies before the war. She took a small ship with a crew of 12 to find the Alterian Republic. Meanwhile, Chief Engineer Pete Johnson was working day and night to prepare the Defiant for whatever was coming. The ship's factories were running at full capacity, building new fighters and weapons. "Captain, we can produce about 50 new fighters per day," Pete reported. "Our weapon systems are operating at maximum efficiency, but if they bring 50,000 ships like their War Marshal claims, we will need more than just advanced technology." Dr. Helen Brooks had been studying the space around them, looking for any advantage they could use. What she found was disturbing. "Jake, I have been analyzing the energy patterns in this region of space. The same technology that trapped us in that time bubble is still active. There are devices hidden throughout this sector that can create space-time distortions." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "It means someone deliberately trapped us. This was not an accident. Someone wanted us to disappear for 300 years, and whoever did it might try to do it again." Helen continued her research, working to understand the mysterious technology that had imprisoned them. She knew it was important, but she did not yet understand why. Commander Lucy Adams reached the Alterian homeworld after 3 days of travel, The Alterians were a humanoid species with pale blue skin and large, kind eyes. Their leader, Prime Minister Yulthara, agreed to meet with her. "Commander Adams, we have waited 3 centuries for humans to return," Yulthara said. "My people have kept records of human history that the Confederation tried to destroy. We remember when humans helped us develop our technology and defended us from raiders." Lucy felt hope rising in her chest. "Will your people help us fight the Confederation?" "We are not warriors like humans," Yulthara replied, "but we have something else that may help you. We have been in secret contact with 17 other oppressed species. All of them hate Confederation rule. If humans can prove they are strong enough to challenge the Confederation, these species will join you." Back on the Defiant, Jake was preparing for the storm he knew was coming. The Confederation would not accept his demands to return human worlds. They would send their massive fleet to destroy him. Colonel Steve Murphy had been training his Marines for boarding actions and ground combat. "Captain, my soldiers are ready. We have new powered armor that makes each Marine equal to 10 alien soldiers. But we need targets to attack." Commander Dan Foster was working on battle plans with the ship's computer. "Captain, Amy has been running combat simulations. Even with our technological advantages, fighting 50,000 ships will be difficult. We need to be smart about how we engage them." Jake called a meeting of all his senior officers. The war room was full of his most trusted people. He looked around at their faces and saw determination, but also worry. "The Confederation is mobilizing their entire fleet," Jake told them. "War Marshal Thalgrim commands 50,000 ships, and he is coming here to destroy us. We have maybe 2 weeks before they arrive." Commander Rick Stone, who had been monitoring alien communications, had more bad news. "Captain, they are not just sending warships. Intelligence reports suggest they are bringing planet-killing weapons. They plan to destroy any world that might support us." The room fell silent. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. His decisions would determine not just the fate of his crew, but possibly the future of humanity itself. "We cannot run," Jake said finally. "If we retreat, they will hunt us down eventually. And we cannot let them destroy innocent worlds just to get to us." Dr. Brooks spoke up. "Captain, I may have found something that can help us. The space-time distortion technology that trapped us, I think I can use it as a weapon. If I am right, we might be able to turn their numbers against them." Jake looked at her with interest. "Explain." "If I can create localized time distortions around enemy ships, I can slow them down while we move at normal speed. Imagine fighting an enemy who moves like they are underwater while you move normally." The idea was brilliant but dangerous. "How long do you need to prepare this weapon?" "Give me 10 days and I will have something ready." Jake made his decision. "Do it, Helen." "Pete, I want every system on this ship operating at peak efficiency. Steve, train your Marines for the fight of their lives. Lisa, Betty, make sure our pilots are ready for the biggest space battle in history." He looked around the room one more time. 2 weeks from now, the Confederation fleet will arrive. When they do, we will show them that humanity does not bow to anyone. We will fight for our freedom, our worlds, and our right to exist in this galaxy. As the meeting ended, Jake stood alone in the war room looking at the tactical display. 50,000 enemy ships against 1 human vessel. The odds were impossible. But Jake had learned something important over the past few days. Humans did not win because they had the best odds. They won because they never gave up, no matter how hopeless things looked. The gathering storm was almost upon them, but Jake Morrison and his crew would be ready. The Confederation fleet arrived like a storm of metal and fury. 50,000 ships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, their hulls blocking out the stars. War Marshal Thalgrim stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching, the single human ship that had dared to challenge the entire galaxy. "Look at it," Thalgrim said to his officers. 1 ship against 50,000. The humans have become mad with pride. Admiral Kethvar, who had been defeated by the humans before, felt less confident. "War Marshal, I have seen what their fighters can do. We should be careful. You lost to them because you were weak," Thalgrim replied coldly. "Today, We will show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Confederation. On the Defiant, Captain Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet surround his ship. The tactical display showed enemy vessels in every direction, stretching as far as the sensors could reach. His bridge crew was quiet, but he could see determination in their eyes. "Amy, open a channel to all hands," Jake ordered. "Channel open, Captain." Jake's voice echoed throughout the massive ship, reaching every one of his 50,000 crew members. "This is your captain speaking. Today we face impossible odds. 50,000 enemy ships want to destroy us and everything we stand for. They think we will surrender because we are outnumbered. They are wrong." He paused, looking out at the enemy fleet. "We are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every human world they stole. We are fighting for every species they enslaved. We are fighting to prove that freedom is stronger than tyranny, no matter how many ships they bring." Across the ship, Marines checked their weapons, pilots climbed into their fighters, and engineers made final preparations. Everyone knew this would be the most important battle of their lives. War Marshal Thalgrim sent his ultimatum. "Human ship, you are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender now, and we will allow your crew to live as prisoners. Refuse, and we will destroy you completely." Jake's reply was simple. "This is Captain Morrison. We do not surrender. If you want our ship, come and take it." The battle began immediately. Thalgrim ordered his entire fleet to attack at once. 50,000 ships opened fire, their weapons lighting up space like angry stars. The barrage was so intense that nearby asteroids were vaporized by stray shots, but the Defiant's shields held. The alien weapons, based on old human technology, could not penetrate the advanced defenses that Dr. Brooks had improved during their centuries in the time bubble. "All fighters, launch now," Commander Betty Hughes ordered. The Defiant's hangar, bays opened and 2,000 fighters poured out into space. But these were not the same fighters the aliens had seen before. Dr. Brooks had upgraded them with new technology that made them even faster and deadlier. Commander Lisa Parker led the first attack wave. Her fighters moved through the alien formation, like ghosts, too fast for the enemy sensors to track accurately. Her pilots destroyed enemy ships with surgical precision, each shot finding its target. "Beta Squadron, take the left flank," Lisa ordered over the radio. "Gamma Squadron, hit their command ships, make them blind and deaf." The alien fleet tried to respond, but their ships were too slow. Every time they aimed their weapons, the human fighters had already moved to a different position. It was like trying to swat flies with hammers. On Thalgrim's flagship, chaos reigned. "War Marshal, we have lost 3,000 ships in the first 10 minutes. Our weapons cannot lock onto their fighters." "Impossible," Thalgrim roared. "There are only 2,000 of them. Keep firing." But the worst was yet to come. Dr. Helen Brooks activated her secret weapon from the Defiant's bridge. "Captain, the space-time distortion field is ready. Activating now." The effect was immediate and terrifying. Large sections of the alien fleet suddenly began moving in slow motion. Their ships, their weapons, even their communications, everything slowed down to a crawl. But the human fighters continued to move at normal speed. To the aliens trapped in the slow time fields, it looked like the human fighters had become impossibly fast. Laser beams that should have taken seconds to fire now took minutes. Ships that should have been able to turn quickly now moved like they were stuck in thick mud. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as human fighters destroyed his ships one by one, while his weapons moved too slowly to respond. "What kind of devils are these? Humans," he whispered. Colonel Steve Murphy coordinated the next phase of the attack. His Marines, wearing their powered armor, launched from assault shuttles toward the largest alien ships. The alien crews tried to fight back, but human soldiers were too strong and too fast. "Boarding Party Alpha, secure the bridge," Murphy ordered, as his Marines cut through alien hull plating like it was paper. "Boarding Party Beta, take their engine room." The alien soldiers stood no chance. Human Marines in powered armor could lift a car with one hand and run faster than alien vehicles. Their weapons could punch through alien battle armor like it was made of cloth. Within an hour, Murphy's forces had captured 50 of the largest alien ships, including 3 command vessels. The alien admirals found themselves prisoners on their own ships. Commander Dan Foster watched the battle from the Defiance Tactical Center. "Captain, we have destroyed or captured 8,000 enemy ships. The rest are trying to retreat, but our fighters are pursuing them." Jake felt no joy in the victory. Too many beings had died today, even if most of them were enemies. "Order our fighters to let them go if they drop their weapons and withdraw. We have made our point." But War Marshal Thalgrim was not ready to surrender. From his damaged flagship, he sent a desperate message to Confederation headquarters. "Send the planet-killer weapons. If we cannot defeat them in battle, we will destroy every world that might support them." Jake heard the message and felt cold, anger in his heart. The aliens were willing to commit genocide rather than accept defeat. "Amy, send a message to Earth," Jake ordered. "Tell them we need reinforcements. Tell them humanity is coming home." For the first time in 300 years, the Defiant made contact with Earth. The reply came back immediately, and it was not what the aliens expected to hear. "Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Sarah Wilson of the Earth Defense Force. We have been waiting for your return. Reinforcements are already on the way. 100 ships of the new Terran fleet will arrive at your position in 6 hours." Jake smiled. Earth had not been sleeping while the Defiant was trapped. Humanity had grown, stronger too. The news of Earth's response spread through the alien fleet like a plague. 1 human ship had been bad enough. The thought of facing 100 advanced human vessels made even the bravest alien commanders lose hope. Across the galaxy, the oppressed species that Commander Lucy Adams had contacted began to rebel. The Alterians declared independence from the Confederation. 17 other species followed their example. The alien empire that had ruled for 3 centuries was falling apart. Chancellor Zixara sent a message from the Confederation capital. "Captain Morrison, we request immediate negotiations. The Confederation Council wishes to discuss terms for peace." Jake looked out at the stars, where alien ships were fleeing in all directions. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. "Tell the Chancellor we will negotiate," Jake replied. "But the terms are simple. All human worlds will be returned to human control. All enslaved species will be freed. The Confederation will acknowledge human sovereignty over our territory." "And if they refuse?" Commander Foster asked. Jake's smile was cold as space itself. "Then they will learn what happens when you anger humanity. We have been gone for 300 years, but we are back now, and we are not going anywhere." The age of alien domination was over. Humanity had returned to claim its rightful place among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Jake Morrison and the crew of the Defiant had awakened from their long sleep to find a changed universe. But with courage, advanced technology, and the unbreakable human spirit, they had proven that no force in the galaxy could keep humanity down forever. The stars belonged to humanity once again,